Whitney, I looked at your test. There's a couple of things that you were doing in this one section, and I just put it in paint, so I can't remember exactly which section it is, but you can see the ones where you were marked wrong. You have to remember that you have to make everything agree with the noun of your sentence, because you're going to want your verb to agree with your noun as well as your adjective. So the problem you're doing down here is you said la universidad es nuevo y caro. Universidad is a feminine word. If you go back and you look at your lessons on how to tell whether words are feminine or masculine, if a word ends in D, it tends to be feminine, or if it ends in AD, it is feminine. So you can't call an universidad nuevo or caro. You have to make it nueva or cara. La universidad es nueva y cara. Paula, ser cubano. Again, you've got that same problem because Paula can't be cubano. She needs to be cubana. Also, you put your subject pronoun in here. You can't have your subject and your subject pronoun. That's just like an English saying Paula, she is. You just say Paula is Cuban or she is Cuban. You do one or the other. I guess you could put it in if you put a comma. Paula, comma, she is Cuban. You might could, but you'd have to have a comma in order to do it. And my language labs would probably mark it wrong. I don't know if it would recognize that particular grammar construct, but if you put a comma, I think you would be okay putting both. Mario y Julia, ser rubio y alto. Again, you need to make your fair and tall agree with who it is that's fair and tall. And yes, they are boys and girls, so it would be masculine. However, there's two of them. So you can't use just rubio alto. You have to make them rubios and altos. And again, you need to get rid of your elios. So that answer would be Mario y Julia son rubios y altos. And over here, Eva is a girl, so even though joven doesn't change, guapo does. You can't call Eva guapo. She must become guapa, and you would get rid of the L. L wouldn't go with Eva anyway because Eva is a girl. Madrid is Madrid is una ciudad española. They were using the adjectives. You can't say in Spanish. It can be in Spain, but that's not what the activity was asking you to do. It wanted you to change the words that were given, so you couldn't use Spain anyway, so you don't need this in. Ciudad is feminine, because again, you've got a word that ends in D, so you'd make it española, and it makes more sense to use the indefinite article as opposed to the definite. You don't want to say Madrid is the Spanish city, because it's not, it's a Spanish city. Then Guillermo y Mateo, again, you'd want to get rid of the ellos. There's two of them, so you're inteligente and extrovertido both need to be made plural. Soledad is a girl. And so you need to use the una, because whenever you take a noun and you modify it, you do need to put an indirect object, and it would be an indirect object because it makes more sense to say that Soledad is a hardworking student than she is the hardworking student. And because it's Soledad who's hardworking, we need to make it feminine, una and trabajadora. And same thing over here. The biggest problem was you got the Dominicana, but you want to get rid of that ella. With time, you were just supposed to be filling in the missing words from these. If you've got menos, you can see it's 9:45, but they wrote 10. That's because one other way you can tell time is by going ahead and saying it's the next hour, but you minus the minutes it takes you to get there. So the answer would be son las 10 menos 15 de la noche, or son las 10 menos cuarto de la noche. Here, son las dos, they've got in. So in goes with in punto, meaning on the dot. So you had to pay attention. The directions wanted you to fill in what was missing from, so it was asking for specific things. You couldn't just put son las dos de la tarde because you had that in there. You need to put in punto. 7:55. I don't think I did that one for you. Let me do this one. But 7:55, son las ocho. It's the same thing again. You should have had menos. So if it had son las ocho, and I didn't put this in the answer I sent you, I don't know why I skipped over that one. But if it's son las ocho, it would be, because you're already counting up to the next hour, you've got to do the minus thing again. So son las, oops. Son las 8 menos 5 de la mañana. Okay. And here you've got es la. You can't have es la with any other time than 1 o'clock, or the expression medianoche, or medianoche. So 12 o'clock in the morning is medianoche. So that's what you would have put there, es la medianoche. If you were trying to write it's 12 and just use the expression 12, it would have to say son las 12 de la mañana. You can only use es la when the hour is 1, or the expression medianoche. So let's see here. You also had over here, you didn't follow directions. It says form a yes-no question for each by either inverting the subject and the verb or using a tag question. I just did them all by inverting. If I wanted to do a tag question, it would have been, so I could have said, so here's la clase de español es aburrida. You write a question, ¿es la clase de español aburrida? Or if you wanted to do a tag question, you could have said, you could have also said, la clase de español es aburrida. And then you would have put a little cierto or no. La clase de español es aburrida, cierto? So you could have done a tag question, leaving everything as it is and adding on a tag question, or flipping the order of the subject and the verb, where the verb comes before the subject. So I've gone ahead and done those. Down here were your question words. You just had to pull the ones in from the word bank. Donde means where, de donde means from where. If the answer is I'm from Chicago, that's asking where are you from, so you need a de donde. This is asking where is Madrid in Spain, in España, so you would use donde. And over here, de quién es esta mochila, you just misspelled it, you need to take the E off. Cuánto, if you look, has multiple spellings because cuánto is being used as an adjective. It has to agree with the noun that you're asking the quantity of. Since we're asking the quantity of persons, which is plural and feminine, we need to make it cuantas. It can't be cuantos.